Welcome. You're tuned into the Living in Rhythm podcast, where we wax philosophy and experience in the art and science of living in rhythm. I'm Sunday, and I came here to let my soul shine. It's a lifestyle, you know what I'm saying? Welcome back. I'm so grateful to be here. We are waning into the last quarter moon, which will then continue to wane into a new moon. We're going to talk about that. Pluto is also coming up on its opposition to Pluto, which is a continuation of the cycle that happened in 2020, 2021, when they were conjunct in the sign of Capricorn. Now they're opposite in Leo and Aquarius, so we want to talk about that and what that means. And then also, you may have heard of this thing called the Barbault's basket. It's a cradle that forms. It's on the chart. You'll see it. It's a 4-degree outer planet alignment that is occurring in a couple weeks. We'll talk about that, but it's a pretty powerful thing. Andre Barbault is an astrologer from France who made a few predictions. We'll talk about how he had some deep insight and how maybe we can use this upcoming basket to maximize our experience. I also want to go into the Hermetic Principle of Correspondence, as above, so below, within, without. We've been talking about the Hermetic Principles a ton, but this one is really applicable to right now with the astrology and how we can best work these transits. And then the final thing that I was going to get into today is about the heightened solar activity. We've got a lot of solar flares kicking off, lots of energy. It's creating a lot of plasma and heat and earth changes. So I want to talk about that as well, because that also has to do with sun, earth, moon, stars, and us. So there is so much going on right now. And my question to myself and all of us is, will we let ourselves change with these transformations that we're being offered? That's what we're asking. I dare, double dog dare, each and every one of us to take the challenge and evolve. Okay. We always get to go into the stars, the sun, the moon, and the stars, but before we do, we need to take a moment to tune in. Take a nice deep inhale. And as you exhale in your own timing, ground your energy into the earth while feeling it expand above you and into the sides of you, all around you. This is a really important practice, and I put this in every podcast on purpose because it has been one of my most profound skills, tools that I use to keep myself in alignment, my nervous system regulated, myself present, and then also just tuned in so I can really sense what's happening around me. So I have this practice. We've talked about it in the past, but I'm going to bring it up again. I call this the suspended breathing practice. And basically what you want to do is take a nice deep inhale, so you inhale as much as you can, hold that breath, suspend it, take a little bit more breath into the body, and then exhale out the mouth. And so the inhale happens through the nose, the exhale happens out the mouth in your own timing. But the idea is that when you bring that breath in and then you push the boundary a little bit further, you're training your nervous system to be able to handle more. You're also training your lung capacity to be able to take more in than you think. This is also like this nervous system regulation is key factor in this new time, this new era that we're in. I've talked about it a lot in regards to Pluto in Aquarius. Aquarius actually represents the nervous system, and it's changing. That's what Pluto represents. It's transformation and change. So right now we're being given an opportunity to upgrade our systems, upgrade our sensory system, our nervous system, our circulatory system, our capacity as humans. We're actually evolving as humans and stepping into into more of the human experience and what that like the potentiality of what that all represents. And so again, like a lot of the things that are coming online right now, or that are activating in time and space as we live and breathe every day, is that we're being pushed to awaken, to expand, to broaden our sense of self, our sense of knowing, our sense of being. And so one of the best ways, as I say, is to use your breathing, this innate skill that you were born into doing. Most of us are blessed to have good, healthy breathing. And if you have asthma or any kind of lung condition, then this is even more important for you to help to regulate your rhythmic breathing, because that is what helps the systems of the body regulate. The electrical systems, the circulatory systems, the nervous systems, the functioning of the body actually is very much founded upon our ability to breathe. And so one of my favorite quotes, Pilates, I've been teaching Pilates for 21 years now. And one of my favorite Joseph Pilates quotes is that breathing is the first and last act of life. And with that said, if the breathing is the first and the last act of life, then we should learn how to do it properly. And so again, like there's a million ways to breathe. There's a lot of incredible pranayama, yogic breathing practices that are tried and true, scientific. I like to, I call them, they are exercises, but they're practices. Really, breathing is just breathing. So I use the word practice lightly, but again, if you can just make an intention to breathe well, to go for your fullness in your breathing, whether it's the expanding in the inhale or the deep integration that happens through a complete exhale. Understanding the rhythm, and also just observing the way that you breathe, because I'm telling you, when you start to practice this nervous system breathing regulation, you'll start to be able to control your heart rate, calm your blood pressure, help your anxiety, your mental state. All of these are so important. So again, really practice a good deep breathing. The suspended breathing, once again, is to inhale to your edge of your inhale, hold for as long as you want. You get to challenge yourself through that. Inhale a little bit more, and then exhale through the mouth. And see if you can't completely exhale. What I find when I exhale is that I'll go to the edge of that exhale, and then I almost get a little, like I can feel my system get stressed a little, or like wants to like grab for more air, but I push myself to go a little deeper to see if I can't expel and release and surrender a little more breath out of my body, because then my inhale is that much fuller, but also you're getting rid of stale old oxygen from the system and allowing fresh new oxygen to come through, which invigorates the blood, invigorates your mental energy. I mean, guys, it's so important. Okay, and then in doing that too, so the breathing is foundational. In that awareness that we develop through our breathing, I want us to start to, and many of you are already doing this, especially if you practice an embodiment practice with me, or if you have in the past, there is a sensing that occurs when we really tune to our center through breathing, through our true center of gravity. We can start to sense the field, is what I say. It's like our biofield or our aura or your bubble, like your Glenda the Good Witch bubble. We all have one. It's a field that surrounds us, that holds electrical energy, magnetic energy, and a lot of other subtle stuff that emanates from our body and then comes to our body. It almost acts as like a filter for from the field. And so again, when you sense and you invigorate your bubble and you activate your biofield and you start to breathe deeply, then you're circulating the energy that's also surrounding you. And the way I like to think about that too is that as I do that, it's pushing the things that I do not need in my experience away from me, and it's magnetizing the things that I do need in my area. And so again, this idea of being able to tune in through the breathing and awareness, center of gravity, awareness of your center of gravity, then you can start to sense the field. And so I'll sometimes just start with the four directions, the right, the left, the north, the south, the east, the west, the back, the front, above, below. and all around, and start to recognize that the field that surrounds you is also a direct reflection of the field within you. And this is what we're doing when we do our embodiment practices. We're looking to engage our center of gravity and our sense of ourself in a way that is so present and clear and clean that we are in a place where we can sense the things that are around us, or we can draw in or magnetize the things that we need, repel and release the things that we don't need. These are important skills. And like I said at the beginning, like we're stepping into our new capacity as human beings. We want to go to our highest potential. I mean, I do. And in fact, I've been listening randomly. Many of you know, music is so important to me. And sometimes I get songs in my head and then I look up the lyrics, or I'll tune into a part of the song and it just resonates with the message that I need. And that's one of the ways I connect with life around me. Well, the song by Seal, Crazy, it keeps coming up. And the one phrase that I just love in that song is, in a world full of people, only some want to fly. Isn't that crazy? And he repeats it a bunch of different ways. And that really hits me because it's like, again, why wouldn't we want to maximize our experience? I mean, this is what we're here for, and I just turned 50 about 6 months ago, and, life gets put into, you just start to look at life so differently. The more time you're blessed to experience on this earth, the more you get to reflect and you get to plan and make choices. They just become, it just gets so much more intentional with time, which I really love. If you're intentional about it. I mean, not everybody is, but this is the invitation, right? Like, challenge accepted, receive and be who you are, your fullness, this life. I mean, why not? That's why you're here. So again, just see if you can't learn to breathe and regulate the system, sensing the field, and using this as an opportunity to build a solid foundation. Because when you can just take 1 to 3 breaths to come back to your center of gravity, you've built a solid foundation. And it's one of those things where you come back to that place when you need it. It is a superpower. When things are chaotic or things are stressful, and you can use your breath to regulate, to come back to presence, to come back to alignment. That's where the best decisions are made from. That's where the most energy that we have to create and expand. And that's where our highest capacity really gets developed, is from a solid foundation. So yeah, lots of love in that core calibration practice. Double dog dare ya, y'all. Do it. So, okay, moving on, we're going to talk about the cosmic synchronization, the cosmic sync that's occurring. My main focus with an intention with this podcast, with my practice, my philosophy, living in rhythm. The idea is to tune to center, to be present in my own nature, in my own experience. And then from that organized state of center, then I can connect with, relate to my environment, the world around me, the people around me. And a lot of times I think of the sun and the moon and the stars as that, something to relate to. Not that they come like waves and tides, but they're not things that move us. Like the stars aren't moving us like this. It's not like the stars' fault or Mercury retrograde's fault, but it's more about, again, aligning with and being in rhythm with life. The rhythmic cycle of the sun and the moon and earth are, again, reflected within us as human beings, as natural sentient beings on this planet. And so, again, to be able to organize ourselves and then make a connection, that's really all I'm trying to do, is synchronize with the cosmos, synchronize myself, calibrate my core, and then synchronize with the cosmos and the world around me. So generally, there's a lot of astrology happening, and I'm not wanting to bog you as my beloved listener. I do not want to bog anybody down with astrology. I will always post charts on my website and in my social media platforms of the charts that I'm talking about, if you want to look, if that's something that you're interested in. But I also encourage you, again, I'm sharing my insight and my perspective and my philosophy, and I want you to have your own experience with it. That is the name of the game here, is you have your very own experience with us, and I'll have mine, and then we come together and we work together and we see what we can come up with. So, that said, I'm just keeping it really simple. Like I will have some basic astrology things that are potent and pertinent to the moment, but in general, this is mostly about the sun and the moon, and then any powerful alignments that are coming up, which we've got some. But to start, so on July 7th, the moon goes to its half moon, what they call the last quarter. It's the waning moon from the full moon. And again, like as within, without, you're learning about your own rhythm. Please observe and make to develop a relationship with the rhythm of the moon, because it changes every 2.5 days, and it's something you can live, you can like flow with. And so we recently had the full moon. I didn't really mention it in the previous podcast. It was all about the the solstice. But so we peaked at the full moon on January 20 or June 29th, and now we're waning. So from that full moon, the light draws back towards the new moon. On its way back, it gets halfway lit. Half of it's light, half of it's dark. On a waning half moon, it's always going to be the left side illuminated. Just know that. When the moon is waxing, it's the right side of the moon that's lit. When it's waning, when it's going down, when the tides are receding and the energy's pulling back, that is the waning moon, left side illumination. Always. Really cool to notice. So on July 7th, we have a last quarter moon. Half moon. Anytime you hear the last quarter, also recognize that is a square. So when you see red square, 90-degree angles in your chart, that's a square. It's a half moon energy. And so then you just have to determine, is this a waxing half or is it a waning half? Because that makes a difference. If you have a glass half full versus a glass half empty, and depending on how you look at it. But with a waning moon, we are actually emptying the cup to then have it be renewed and refilled on that new moon. And so what I think about in a half moon and a last quarter moon is a last call. Anything else that needs to be done in this moon or this month cycle that we are coming to it's coming to a close. So through a last quarter, you want to shed anything, let go of anything. And what's really cool is the larger outer planets are having a similar waning effect going on, where again we are cleansing this last era business in order to step into a new cycle and new time. Big new times. I mean, we've been living them. We're in these things. Started around end of 2019, early 2020, and it hasn't let up, and it's not going to for the next 4 years at least. So again, this is an opportunity to shed any layers, to surrender, to let go, to exhale and empty what does not need to be there. And remember, like the exhale, within, without, if you allow yourself to go deep into the releasing and letting go of that exhale, you're emptying old, stale energy, oxygen, things like that. When you invite that new energy in through the inhale, it revitalizes the blood. It revitalizes the system. It's a refresh. So we are cosmically in a deep exhale right now. And the moon is showing that, and the larger outer planets are too. We'll get to that in the box or in the basket. But take this next week or so, next 2 weeks really, to make your way into a refresh moment, which the new moon occurs on July 14th. And so with that new moon, actually, let me go back really quick, because that last quarter moon, if you care, the sun is going to be in Cancer, and the moon is going to be in Aries. That's a square. And so then as the wane continues, we get to the new moon on July 14th, which is when the sun and the moon are together in the sky in the zodiac sign of Cancer. So not in the actual it's not in the stars in the sky is that, but it is in the zodiac as in the sign of Cancer. That's the precession of the equinox. We'll talk later. So just know that at 21 degrees, this new moon occurs on July 14th, 21 degrees Cancer. We begin a new moon cycle, a new month cycle. So, and the way I like to think of this is just like once a month we get renewal. And women know this well through their cycle. This happens to us once a month in our cycle. And even if no matter where you are in your cycle of a woman, you're still having this cycle experience. And I think men do too, in a different way. But again, if you can use your embodiment practice to tune in your own inhale and your own exhale and awareness in your field, and then make a connection, develop your own relationship to these different cycles and phases of the moon, because everyone was born in a different moon. So if you were, you could be born on a half moon, and this could be a really potent time for you once a month when it's a waning quarter moon. It's just one of those things where I am not trying to tell you how to experience it. I'm telling you some of the base information, and then I really, really hope that you have your own incredible experience around these things and develop your own relationship to it, because this is your life. Bless it. So, okay. And then moving on from the sun and the moon, we got some pretty big things happening with the astrology, or with the outer planets. So on July 16th, then a couple days after the new moon, we have Jupiter and Pluto making an opposition. So Jupiter is going to be in the sign, it already is. It's in the sign of Leo, and it's creeping up 3 degrees, 4 degrees. Pluto is retrograde in Aquarius at 4 degrees. Now, all of the outer planets move pretty slowly, so it takes time. And so it's pretty interesting because, like I was saying during the intro, during 2020 and 2021, Jupiter and Pluto came together in the sign of Capricorn for the first time in many, many years. The most incredible thing about these outer planets, like especially Pluto and Uranus and Neptune, when they make these alignments, it's like a once in a lifetime experience. Like, we will never have Pluto in Capricorn meeting with Jupiter again in our lifetimes. It'll take 250 years, some years, to get back to that state, to that place in those signs. Fascinating. So when they're together, it's like a new moon, right? The energy is beginning a new cycle. By the time it gets to an opposition, that's like a full moon. They are opposite of one another. And so there's a little bit of, what I love about the polarity energy is there's friction there, which gives us something to work with. When things are together and in conjunction, it's a harmonic experience, and it's sort of la-di-da, like, yay, we work together. And it's amplified, and it's great. The energy works together. It's starting a new cycle. But as you come to an opposition, that energy is looking at itself. They're looking back at each other, and they're seeing, like, how can we relate? How can we balance? One of us isn't going to win over the other. It's an equal situation. The polarity is an equal dual situation. So what does that look like? It's sort of interesting for me. My interpretation, always with Pluto, transformation. It's like metamorphosis. It's in the sign of Aquarius, which is all about community, which is all about individuality, but within a community. So it's building strong connections, but also through our authentic expressions of our unique selves. It is also about being revolutionary or rebellious, thinking outside the box, being willing to take unprecedented or unpredictable pathways. It's Pluto and Aquarius, amazing. We're going to have it for, we have it for another 14 years, I think. I can't remember exactly. But yeah, anyways, the Pluto thing is, we're going to be living with this Pluto and Aquarius story. But this is our first time having it opposite of Pluto, or of Jupiter. And we will have one more of these by the end of this Pluto and Aquarius. So this was a unique one. This is a rare moment of Pluto opposite Jupiter. Now, Jupiter represents expansion, amplification, magnification. So it enlarges and amplifies everything. It's in the sign of Leo, which is the royal, creative, heart-centered, light, fun, playful energy. So, yeah, interesting. I feel like that polarity between those two is kind of asking us to, like, I keep feeling like we're kind of being asked the question in 2020, when they were conjunct, I was having this, when I was teaching the Cosmic Sync class, I kept having this feeling of the universe is asking us, show your work, prove it, like embody, show me that you know. Like the universe, life itself is like, show me that you want to be here. Show me that you know what you're talking about. It's asking that of the United States of America too, by the way. We had our Pluto return. Well, now that it's opposite, it's like, okay, I see you. You've shown me some things. Are you brave enough? Are you courageous enough to follow through, to take it to the next step? Because the next layer is requiring us to reinvent the wheel a little bit. We have to tell new stories, to explain or to experience the world in new ways, because a lot of these old ways aren't working. If we want to stay true to the mission that we've been on as human race, as humanity expands and grows and evolves, we have to change some of the things that are going on right now. And I feel like, again, there's a huge value. Venus has to do with this, but there's a huge revisitation of what it means to be a human being right now. What are our values? What's most important when it comes to being a human? How does that look? Not beyond culture, beyond country, beyond race, religion, ethnicity, sexual preference. I mean, it's all, like we are transcending the ideas of all the things that make us unique, which are important. I do not want to disregard any of that. But how do we transcend this now? For those of us that are really open-hearted, open-minded, and have come to a place where we are in a full open-hearted acceptance of like humanity, which this is who I'm speaking to. Like, I mean, there are lots of levels of consciousness going on right now on the planet. I'm not talking to the lower levels anymore. We're just going to stay high up, and we're going to keep freaking moving forward, and we're going to elevate, and we're going to speak in that way. That's the choice. These are the choices I'm making. So you see, so this Pluto is asking us to change the way we express ourselves, the way we show up. Are we going to be courageous enough to change? That's really the question that's on my heart right now, that I feel strongly. And so, with that said, as the Pluto-Jupiter opposition kicks in, shortly after that, then we have what's July 19th, which is being called the Barbault's basket. Now, I just heard of Andre Barbault in the last 6 months. I'd never heard of him, but I did some research, and it's really fascinating. So he is this French astrologer that was making a ton of predictions in the 60s about the 80s, 90s Common Era. He predicted the fall of the Soviet Union. He actually predicted the global pandemic in 2020. And he has a new prediction. Unfortunately, he passed away in 2019, so he's no longer with us, but he had a prediction for 2026, July 19th, in fact. He said that there's a basket that's forming that he's calling a splendid renewal of civilization. He's got such an optimistic perspective on where humanity's going from this global pandemic moment in 2020 to into 2026 and then into 2030. How he made these predictions, his philosophy and the way he was using astrology is that he was looking at the cycles of the outer planets, which I love to do. You all know this. Looking at the outer planet cycles and then also looking at it through history. So he was going back and seeing how these big alignments, these patterns were showing up. And then you could have, because you have a historical record, you can make these correlations around this was, so, and you've heard me, if you've been a listener of the podcast for a while, you've heard me talk about right now we are in a astrological cycle that is reminiscent, not the same because it never is, it's a spiral, time is spiral, but there's reminiscence and rhymes to the American Revolution, the French Revolution as well, the American Civil War, the World War II, the Civil Rights era, 1968 particularly, and then right now there's some really interesting stories that we're being asked to, because we're starting this new cycle with this. Is do you believe this stuff still? Back to the question. I feel like the universe is show me how, humanity, show me how you wanna be in justice for all. all men are created equal, women, children. You know, we're being asked to really uphold and embody these deep beliefs, these values, these morals and ethics on a human level in the mindset of humanity for 2026. It's deep, y'all. It's so deep. So this basket, good old Barbault basket, it takes place on July 19th, and it basically is between Pluto and Jupiter, that opposition. So they're both at 4 degrees, Pluto in Aquarius, Jupiter in Leo. And then they're making sextiles to Uranus at 4 degrees in Gemini and Neptune at 4 degrees in Aries. So this basket, it sort of makes it's a basket. And then Jupiter and Pluto make like the lid of the basket. They're the top of it. And so the best way I can describe this is it's energetics capturing a lot of energy around fire and the elements of fire and air. And when I think about this fire, air element business, I always come to polarity because that's like the Hermetic principles, but also it's just like my embodiment practice, like Pilates, yoga. We talk about polarity. We talk about that oppositional energy. So if you're having this basket capturing a lot of this fire and air energy, then we need to work in balance to bring balance into this, to manifest this, to work this transit. We need more earth, water element embodiment. What does that look like? So let's just talk about the fire air of the basket. Fire is creativity. It's obviously heat. It's also destruction, but it is creation. It gives life. It is the flame, the spark of life. It is the will. It is the, it brings light. It brings energy. It's creative. The air moves. It's kinetic. It's fluid. It's gaseous. It's not fluid. It moves though, and that ability, the creative energy happens in air. It happens in the mental state. Air always makes me think of mind. Fire makes me think of heart, and then into the digestive area. It's the creating and the processing. The air is the mentalism, the thought process, the ideas, concepts. And then how we process that. So the air and the fire work together in that regard. The earth then grounds, anchors, solidifies, forms. The water flushes, cools, circulates, right? So, and then there's ether. But the idea, again, is the way that when I'm thinking about this basket is that we've got a lot of ideas. And there's a lot of potential for creativity in how we process these ideas and this belief. Because again, like I just think revolutionary, think future, be future oriented. Because, gosh, I just feel like some of the most amazing ideas are going to be coming out of this time. They already are. I've said this a bunch during 2020 to now that we are in a new renaissance. That's what this basket represents for me, is that we are in this new era, new renaissance era. And think about all the art and creativity that came out of the old renaissance period, and how people were thinking about life and the human body and the human experience in new and unique ways. We're doing that again, but from our viewpoint, from a 2026 perspective. And I just challenge us all, like, go take the Jupiter ideas and I'll never forget, like in elementary school, when you're in brainstorming groups, there's always the teachers that was like, there's no bad ideas in a brainstorm, right? Like, that's why I was saying last week, jot them down, have them written, have it in a place where you can throw some of these ideas. They might not make sense right now, but they could make sense later. They'll evolve into something potentially, or it just might be a good way for you to get energy out. And so, that's what I feel like we're being offered an opportunity again to elevate ourselves as a human race, as human beings. And so, like, Barbault's idea was that we're moving into a new way of being humans and a new civilization. And that's the way I'm looking at it, is that this is an opportunity to really work our potentiality from where we stand now. And I mean, I want to get more in tune. I want to get more intuitive, more psychic, more more graceful in my ability to attract and also release. I'm looking to be more graceful and embodied in myself. This is because that Aries is there. This is about the self. This is full on man in the mirror situation. That's the way I feel deeply, is that a lot of this stuff is inner work so that we can start to see it on the outside. That principle of correlation, it's everywhere. So yeah, so practice that. And then the last couple things I want to say about this basket is that the number 4 is what's completing the basket, the 4th degree. As many of you know, 0 to 10 degrees are the very first decan. That's the beginning, or 0 to 9 degrees is the beginning of a cycle. So anytime you have anything in the early degrees, it's a new cycle, something to play with, something you're still learning and embodying and practicing. So a later degree is more practiced, more mastered, more integrated. So receive that a little bit. Recognize that we're in a new era. We're in the beginning phases of some new way of looking and thinking and experiencing the world. So give yourself some grace and also presence around that, to really observe it and experience it for what it is without projecting and all these like bringing all the old ideas and stories to it. We leave the old stuff behind, please. I dare you. Again, I double dog. I don't know why I'm saying that so much today, but I am like, let it go, y'all. Let it go now. I'm doing it too. Old out with the old, in with the new. And so the significance of the number 4, though, let's talk about this. 4 is the heart center. When I think of the number 4, I always think of the table too. Like a very solid table has 4 legs, which means that with a solid foundation, I can build on that. I love that. Another thing is in the tantric yoga, they talk about the number 4 being the neutral mind. And I love this. The ability to be neutral and present. It's that heart-centered state again. It's like I don't have to react or respond. I just am. It's a solid foundation, a base, unaffected, uninfluenced, unwavering. I also think of the number 4 as the word acceptance itself. It's like it's a receiving and an acceptance. Like also with that table, you can put stuff on it. It's receptive. It's also accepting. Beautiful, right? Allowing and accepting. We could all use a little more of that self-acceptance and acceptance of others for who they are and where and how they are, right? As much as we can, which then leads me to compassion. The number 4 is all about compassion. And so when I'm thinking of this basket, I'm like, how do we apply this? How can you apply this to your chart? Well, for one, if you've got the 4th degree or anything close to that 4 degrees on either side, this is probably influencing you a little bit. You can book a sesh if you want a little more detailed personal insight into that. I'm happy to work with you on that. Otherwise, have an observation and correlation experience with it, like Jeffrey Wolf Green talks about, where you really observe and sense and feel like, what does number 4 mean for me? Maybe you were born on the 4th. Maybe your parents were, or somebody that you love is, or you just start to see the resonance and the reference of the number 4 in your life. That's another way to connect. But then also to just really see how, when you go into your heart-centered state, how receptive are you really? Where's the work for you? Are you holding back? Are you holding on to things? How can you clear the table and be more receptive, be more accepting for what is, allowing what doesn't need to be to fall away? Judgments, people, things, all really important stuff. So again, I really, really want you to have your own experience about this. It's a new renaissance. I mean, there is a brand new version of Leonardo da Vinci out here with some really cool drawings, some really cool inventions, having insights and visions into the future of things that we can't even comprehend with our mind right now. An open heart and an open mind are so needed right now. And then through that, we ground and we presence ourselves. As above, so below, within, without. And so moving on, I just want to talk a little bit about the solar activity. You may have seen this. There's this really cool guy on the internet. His name's Stefan Burns. I'm unaffiliated. I just bring him up because he's got a good insight, and he keeps an open heart and mind too. He's open to the spiritual aspects as well as the scientific aspects, which I deeply appreciate when it comes to this. But anyhow, there's these, just like everything, there's seasons, right? So the sun is in its heightened season right now. The solar maximum is what they call it. And it basically, what's really interesting to me is that the solar maximum is actually we're at the end of that cycle, but for whatever reason, people don't understand right now. I am not a geophysicist, but I am a metaphysicist. What I will say is that the sun's energy is more heightened than it's been in like over 100 years. And so they're watching it big time. We're having a lot of solar flares. I even saw it like last year. I got to see the northern lights from Colorado. We're these solar flares, this energy, basically the sun is releasing a lot of energy, and then it's moving towards Earth. And so the Earth's magnetic field is it's being affected by it. It's moving a little bit. It gets weaker and then it gets stronger. I mean, it's really being influenced by these solar flares blasting the Earth's surface. And in that too, there's this, I'm just laying the foundation right now, but I've been really deeply observing and experiencing and studying the concepts around plasma and which is actually dark matter. But the idea that this energy that is coming to us, again, the way I'm looking at it is, if there's more energy coming, are we receptive? Or is your body so maxed out that you can't receive anything else? Because this is what I'm saying, is we are in a heightened moment right now where there's more energy and creative energy, fire, air, love, force, heart-centered energy coming to us. And my question is, are we open enough to receive, and are we willing enough to change? And so I can just feel myself in a way just shedding ideas, shedding beliefs, shedding old things, like old clothes, old dishes, like things that are just not serving this present moment, in a way so that I can take more of this solar energy that's coming, this plasma that's coming in, and have it be like a healing experience instead of just happening. So again, it's sort of like you get to choose how you relate to any of this. And, I go extra. I love it. I don't think there are any coincidences. I feel like we are being given insight and guidance every day through the world around us, if we are open enough to receive that. And so that's the skill set that I'm really working to do myself. And so I encourage everybody, play with it in your own unique way. So, just to seal it up a little bit, we've been talking a lot about the Hermetic philosophy, the Hermetic Principle of Correspondence, which is as above, so below, as within, so without. And I encourage every single one of us to start to look in the world around us and see, like, what of your world, what is the world asking you? What are you being asked to change, to evolve from or into? And are you being graceful around that? Are you holding on? Are you holding on to old things that are old practices, people, places, things that are not conducive to the direction that you're actually looking to move into in your life, like max potentiality, right? I feel like I'm whimsy maxing. That's what I'm saying. Everybody's maxing everything. I'm whimsy maxing. I want to get so free and playful and heart-centered that I am present enough to receive and to give. So that's what I'm doing. And then just to seal it up, y'all, I want to list up some of the upcoming events. I have got an pre-eclipse workshop that I'm hosting on July 26th at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. And it's called the Evolutionary Pathways, is a series that I teach that some of you have been a part of before. I'm doing it again. So the Evolutionary Pathways axis of heart and soul. We're moving into this new eclipse cycle, and I want to really dive deep into that and help people customize it in a way that they can use this, these next 18 months to karmic, again, you got to evolve. You going to grow or are you going to stay where you are? Because that's lame and boring. Anywho, yeah, look on the website, livinginrhythm.com. I've got some early bird pricing on that. So catch that early bird pricing while it's available. And then the last thing is I'm actually going to be doing a little community offering where I'm going to be doing a 40-day meditation. Starts today, July 5th, and it's going through August 13th. So we're going to do, it's all geared around the eclipse. We're doing the cross-hearted Kirtan Kriya, 11 minutes. It's complimentary. My gift to you, just like this podcast is my gift to you. So go to my website to check that out. And again, if you want a one-on-one, hit me up. I would love to help you personalize, customize your experience. I love sharing this stuff, especially when it comes to, making it, again, you got to make it yours. So private groups, one-on-ones, I'm all about that. So thanks again for tuning in, being a part of this community, being a part of my experience, supporting and encouraging me and everyone else around you. It's all very helpful. And I really do have so much love and appreciation for y'all. So thank you very much for tuning in. All the love and respect. Bless. Peace.